In this video, we're going to discuss how to convert percentages and decimals that are either above 100% or below 1%. So as decimals, that would be below 0.01 or above 1. So let's check out what that's all about. We've got write 136% as a decimal. So how do we do that? Well, it's much like how we convert any percentage into a decimal. I use the direct translation of a percent to mean for every 100 or per 100. So 136%, if you remember, is 136 per 100 or for every 100. Now, if we read this directly as it's written as a fraction, that's 136 100ths. 136 100ths. Well, or 136 hundredths, that would be 1, and you could really convert that a little bit more, and 36 hundredths. Oh, so this is going to lend itself nicely into translating it into a fraction as well. 1 and 36 hundredths would be 1 and 36 hundredths, or 1.36. So you're literally reading out what you have as a fraction and translating it into a decimal. It's a smooth way of rocking that problem. Part B asks you to translate this into a fraction. Well, we've kind of already done that. We've got the 136 100ths. So we have that piece right there. And then if you just want to leave it as an improper fraction, we now just need to simplify this down by dividing numerator and denominator by the greatest common factor, which is 4. You could also rewrite it as a mixed number and then reduce it. So if we divide the numerator and denominator by 4, I believe that's going to give us 34. Let's see, we divide by 4. Ooh, not quite. It is going to be 34. A little bit of mental mathage. So it's going to be 34 over 25. And that's dividing numerator and denominator by 4. So a little bit of mental math, or you could use a calculator. Okay, or you could look at this and say 1 and 36 100ths, that's going to be 1, and 36 and 100 can each be divided by 4, and that would leave you with 9 25ths. So that's the same thing, just as a mixed number. There you have it. So nothing really that different when you have a percentage above 100%. You're just going to end up with a mixed number or a units value in your decimal. All right, we're going to translate 0.267 into a percent. So write it as a percent. What do we do there? A couple different ways. One way that we can do it is you can move your decimal point once, twice to the right, because what you're essentially doing is you're multiplying by that 100, and then by writing it as a percent, dividing it by 100. In a previous video, I went over why that works. So that gives you 26.7%. Or you could do a straight up translation. 0.267 is 267 thousandths, right? So that's 267 thousandths. And then you could convert that into a percentage by putting it out of 100, because after all, a percent is a number per 100. So we'd have to divide top and bottom by 10. And that decision is made because I want 1,000 to become 100. So that's going to be 26.7 out of 100, which is 26.7%. Most people typically prefer doing it the first way that I showed, but doing it the second way is a real good form of doing this out a little bit more formally. Okay, let's check out these next two pieces. Write 32.5% as a decimal. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, again, we can translate that into a fraction. So 32.5% is 32.5 out of 100. Right? And so if I'm doing 32.5 out of 100, when I divide it like that, that tells me I need to move my decimal point 2 places to the left. And so that's going to be equal to 0.325. That's all there is to it. Or you could say, okay, I'm dividing by 100, right? And that's the action. I divide by 100, so I move the decimal point over 2 places to the left. It's that simple. Then, how do we write it as a fraction? Well, I've kind of already hinted towards how we do that. We do the direct translation of 32.5 per 100, or percent. But that's not quite technically a fraction because we still have a decimal point in the numerator. So what we're going to do is we're going to translate this into a pure fraction by multiplying by 10. The reason why we need to do that is that'll move our decimal point 1 place to the right, giving us a non-decimal in the numerator. So I'll multiply numerator and denominator by 10. And that's going to leave us with 325 all over. 10 times 100 is 1,000. There you have it, peeps. little bit more action in terms of solving problems or making conversions between percents, decimals, and fractions that deal with decimals and fractions and percents that aren't within that 1% to 100% range. They're outside of it.